The Democrats are at it once again with the elections. We need to sit there and vote appropriately because they're at it once again. We called it just like they did in 2020, just like they did in 2016, but really mostly in 2020. Check this out. You have Gavin Newsom. Got a nice little tweet here for you. Gavin Newsom. Maybe I should zoom out just a wee bit here. Gavin Newsom, governor of California, enacts law banning voter ID requirements. Oh, lovely. Oh, just lovely, Gavin. Thank you so much. Governor signs a law to ban local voter ID requirements. Why? Because they know where these are coming from. Governor Gavin Newsom signed a bill into law on Thursday, and we got a lot of election news here, folks, that bars local governments from enacting laws to require residents to show a valid form of identification in order to vote. Why? Because they have thousands and thousands of illegal immigrants voting in this current election. How do we know that? Well, there's people in the courts right now from 2016 and 2020 that are being prosecuted for identity theft or voting illegally. We've seen the observation. People were willing to even say, yeah, I voted when I shouldn't have. We just saw a video last week of an illegal immigrant saying, yeah, I'm a registered voter. Texas just removed 6,000 people, 6,000 or 9,000 people off their voter registration rolls that were illegal voters. You have Nevada, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and some others being sued by the GOP for not cleaning up their voter registration rolls. The law is directed in response to a ballot initiative approved by voters in the coastal California city of Huntington Beach. In March, 53% of residents voted to adopt a ballot measure that requires all residents who want to cast a ballot in the municipal elections to show a valid ID. So if you guys know anything about Huntington Beach, it's very conservative. That's where they have a lot of the Trump flags going around, a lot of caravans down there on Main Street. Cool place to visit, by the way. I go walk down there every now and then. It's also where James Klug does his street interviews every now and then. So they were trying to get this stuff passed because they didn't want people that weren't legal citizens to be having representation for things that they shouldn't have representation for because they're not citizens. But the measure runs afoul of state law. After it passed, well, you had the Attorney General, a Democrat, of course, and another secretary, Weber, sued the city to block officials from enforcing it. The right to freely cast your vote is the foundation of our democracy, and Huntington Beach's voter ID policy flies in the face of this principle. If you think it's just California, folks, you are sorely mistaken. We looked at Arizona. We looked at a lot of states together that sat there and said, hey, you know what? When you fill out that voter absentee ballot or that voter registration form, to be more specific, it don't matter. And so the Democrats are actively going out to make sure that illegal immigrants can vote. Look at this. Justice Department sues Alabama. We have Alabama residents in the chat right now over efforts to remove non-citizens from voter rolls. You can't make this up. You can't make it up. The Justice Department sued Alabama on Friday over its efforts to clean up its voter registration rolls. I told you the foozery was going to happen, did I not? So Alabama's trying to do the right thing, going, yeah, we need to clean up our voter registration rolls. We got dead people that are still in it. We got people that are illegal aliens that somehow are in our voter registration rolls. Yeah, we want to clean it up. Nope. Joey's not allowing that to happen, or is just the department ain't allowing it to happen. So, and ensure that non-citizens are not registered to vote. Notice the media does not cover this. Do you notice the media does not ask Tim Walz, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Jen Psaki, hey, why are you suing Alabama to make sure that non-citizens aren't on their voter registration rolls like they're trying to clean it up? Why are you guys doing that? Notice there's no questions whatsoever about things like that. Weird. The lawsuit comes after Alabama Secretary of State announced an effort last month to remove non-citizens from the state's voter rolls. You would think that's something everybody could get behind, Democrat and Republican. By the way, if there was a non-citizen voting Republican, I would still want them off the voter registration roll. It goes both directions. In its lawsuit, the DOJ said that the effort violated federal law because the National Voter Registration Act restricts actions states can take within 90 days of the federal election. The right to vote is one of the most sacred rights in our democracy. Yeah, but it's a constitutional republic. And through this democracy that we have, It's people that need to be represented on behalf of somebody else, but the people that are represented are actually the citizens of the country. We all know what they're doing. We're not idiots. We know exactly what they're doing. Look at this. As of August 13th, 84 days before the November 5th election, Allen said that Alabama officials had identified over 3,000 people on the voter registration rolls with non-citizen identification numbers assigned to them by the Department of Homeland Security. Oh, weird how that name pops up constantly, right? You mean the same Department of Homeland Security that is headed by DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, that lied to Congress, specifically Jim Jordan, a handful of times that said the border was secure? You mean the same guy that lied about everything regarding the border and allowed millions of people to pour across, and now somehow some of them are on our voter registration rolls? Somehow they're going to vote in our election? Somehow they're sitting there taking our jobs? Somehow they're sitting there taking our housing and increasing the price of everything to go up? Weird how that all is happening, huh? Really weird. Oh, you think we're done? Oh, no, you think we're done? We're not done with the election stuff. Of course not, you guys. Of course not. Check this out. 218,000 people in Arizona who did not provide the state-required citizenship documents are on the voter registration rolls. Oh, okay. God, it sounds like Arizona's in contention and almost one of those swing states slightly to sit there and go either direction. 218,000.
Now, this new data set, as they're calling it, brings the total number of people impacted to 218,000 instead of the 98,000 we first reported. These people were mistakenly marked as having provided documentary proof of citizenship, and Arizona voter registration database now has correctly flagged the impacted individuals. Election officials say they will contact the affected Arizonans with information regarding their status after the general election. Status after the general election. The affected Arizonans with information regarding their status after the general election. Their status after the general election.
No big deal. We'll allow them to vote anyways. We'll clean it up after. Oh, lovely.
That means for now, the Arizona Supreme Court's ruling is going to stay that impacted voters, that includes all of them, will still be able to vote.
Yeah. Oh, this is great. Oh, goody.